Welcome to the Doc G Show, a radio show cluster. Without further ado, critics have said he has the face for radio and a voice for silent films. Your host, Ben Doc G Gordon.
And we are on the air. Welcome to the Doc G Show. I'm your host, Doc G. With me, as always, the one, the only, Mikey Maximus, the duck-billed Daticus, Charette.
Say what? Doc G, what's up, sir?
Oh, man. I'll tell you, it's another week, Mike.
Yeah.
It is another week. How are you?
I feel good, man. I feel really good.
You were just telling me you've dived into a American Pickers rabbit hole.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I've been watching that show nonstop. We have a 24/7 Samsung TV American Pickers channel, and it's amazing, Doc G. I mean, I suggest anybody who's listening to the show, if you have
that makes us young, hip, and cool, Mike. I would guess, just guessing, I do not know their analytics, Mike, but I would guess the average age of viewer for American Pickers is probably 65. Yes! That's just my guess.
You know what? I don't know what the average age is, but I'm telling you something is very unusual. I get a lot of HIV commercials from that channel. And yesterday I actually want to write about this, but there were 2 HIV drugs in a row.
Oh, yeah.
2 commercials.
Different ones. Yeah. It's the same thing. I get it a lot when watching news channels, Mike. MSNBC, lots of AIDS drugs. And you're like,
interesting.
How many HIV positive people are out here watching these? And wouldn't you think their doctor would be on top of that? They wouldn't just see it and be like, "Oh, I've got AIDS. That's good for me." It's just, I don't know. It seems very weird.
That's hilarious. There we go. I'm writing that down, Doc G. That's a great observation.
Take it, man. But
that's great.
Did you notice my nickname for you this week?
Duck-billed
Daticus.
Daticus?
Tip of the cap to the old platypus.
Yeah.
You know the duck-billed platypus?
Of course. Yeah. I mean, I know what it is.
Yeah. I was thinking about this, about the duck-billed platypus, because it's usually called the duck-billed platypus, which would imply you're describing it compared to other platypuses. There's a duck-billed platypus, and then there's like a wolf-faced platypus or whatever,
Yeah.
But no, that's the only one.
Word.
There's no other platypuses. They just called him out. They were just like, he's got a duck bill. What a moron. Let's call him duck-billed platypus. You don't need to go any description. There's only one. That's it. The platypus. But Mike, here's the thing. We did this a long time ago. Any regular listeners on the show, we did platypus fun facts way back in the day. It wasn't a regular occurring segment. We just decided to do it one week.
Sweet.
But they are weird, Mike. They are very, very weird. They are so. Well, they are so weird. When the first European examined one as a scientist, he thought someone was trying to trick him. He literally thought somebody had just sewn some parts of other animals together and sent it to him. He's like, no. This thing can't exist in real life. This is amalgamation of all other animals, right? I mean, it looks like a beaver that stole a bill from a duck, has some feet of a duck, and then weird spurs on the ends of its feet that are venomous. Huh? Nothing makes sense about the platypus. Mike, they lay eggs. They have spurs on the back of their feet that are venomous. They glow in black lights, and they hunt by electrical signals in the water. They are...
Yeah, that's a lot of superpowers.
They are weird, man. And I was thinking about it, Mike. I get the feeling. I get a little bit of the feeling that the Doc G Show, it's the platypus of the radio show and podcast world.
I like that.
You know?
I would agree.
I mean, you've got the Showstopper podcast out there, like Smartless. Mm-hmm. They're like the lions at the zoo, you know? People are always talking about them. People come on their show and tell them, oh my God, I listen to your show every week. We love your show. It's amazing, you know? Just like the lions. People will sit around for like 30 minutes at the zoo watching the lion sun its rolled over with just its legs open, just hoping to hear it roar. You know, I don't. Have you ever been at the zoo when the lion roars?
Oh yeah, it's wild.
It's a big deal. Like people will like clap and stuff. Like oh wow, yeah, like because it's pretty impressive. It's loud.
Yeah, it is.
But then those same people will turn the corner and they'll run into the platypus display and they're like, what the is this thing? Where did this come from? That's us. Mm-hmm. That's us.
Yeah.
And you know what, Mike? I think I'm fine with that.
Yes! Oh, yeah. For sure.
You know what, Mike? I found a little story from Aboriginal Australia about platypuses. You want to hear it?
Yes, I would.
Okay. They say back in the day, all the major, this is a mythological story from the original folks of Australia, right? Mm-hmm. They say back in the day, all the major animal groups, the land animals, the water animals, the birds, the platypus came in and every group wanted the platypus to be a part of their group.
So true.
They're like, bro, join the birds. You've got those duck feet. You're basically a bird. And then the fish were like, no. You can swim amazing. You got to come with us. You're a fish, bro. Yes! And then the land animals are like, look at that coat. You're definitely a mammal. You should be with the land animals. But the platypus ultimately decided not to join any of them because he knew he didn't need to be a part of any group to be special, Mike.
Mm-hmm.
We're special, Mike.
We are.
How's that striking you?
I feel good. I feel like we're good underwater.
That's right.
We are good in the air.
That's right.
And, we're good on land.
Doesn't sound too bad to be a platypus.
Nope.
Sounds pretty effing good. Are you ready to fire up this platypus show, Mike?
Let's fire it up, Doc G.
All 3 engines up and burning. 2, 1, 0, and lift off.
Woo! My goodness, Mike, we have a tremendous show. My goodness, we have the tremendous John Flansburg from the world-renowned They Might Be Giants. So these dudes have done some stuff, Mike. I'm not, I'm not saying you're not a huge music fan, but there's some areas in the music world that are a little less known to you. Have you ever heard They Might Be Giants?
No. I don't think so. I mean, they may be familiar.
But they have continued. I guarantee you've heard their work, though. That's the thing.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
I know you've heard their work. They have been in the game over 40 years. They created the theme song, Mike, for Malcolm in the Middle.
Oh,
yeah.
There you go.
They won Grammys for that. They won 2 Grammys for that song. Pretty impressive.
Yeah, it is.
And they're going to be in St. Petersburg, February 28th. Can't wait to talk to John. But first, Mike, we need to start where we start.
Birthday suit.
Happy birthday, Mr. President.
Okay. This is a new one, Mike. Don't know if you're going to get it. I think you can get maybe we'll see. So here's the condensed clue. Very popular singer, known for her style influenced by drag queen fashion. Has super popular songs Good Luck Babe and Hot to Go. H-O-T. She spells it out in the song. Any ideas, Mike?
I don't think so.
Okay. I don't think I'll give you the initials because I don't think the readout is going to help you any on it. But C-R.
I don't think so. No. Nothing comes to mind.
Chapel Rowan. do
I
anything
feel like
for you. Chapel
yeah,
Roan.
I feel like Chapel Rowan does do something for me.
Okay. Take a gander, Mike. See if it hits you. So
Chapel Rowan, I'm gonna listen to a song.
yeah, listen to Hot to Go. I'll get the real time. I'm almost you got to get to like the chorus part of it, but I'm betting it will strike you.
I don't know that song.
You don't know Hot to Go?
No.
Oh wow. Oh. Mike, you need to get on the pop music of today. My goodness.
Okay, yeah, no, I've never heard her.
Wow, that is, well, Mike, let me introduce you to her. So she was born February 19th in Willard, Missouri. She grew up in a very Christian home. She started playing piano when she was 10 years old and played publicly the first time when she was 13. She started posting a lot of music on YouTube, which led Atlantic Records to sign our birthday Suitwearer. She then released an EP titled School Nights in 2017. Basically, most of her stuff, she sort of struggled for about 3 years. She released Pink Pony Club in 2020, and that sort of got things rolling a little bit. And then in 2022, she signed with Sony and released Naked in Manhattan. She was then selected as the opening act for Olivia Rodrigo's tour Sour. This really helped propel her on her way. Then she released Hot to Go, huge single, in 2023, along with her album The Rise and Fall of a Midwest Princess.
That's right.
In 2024, she released Good Luck Babe, which peaked at number 6 on the Hot Billboard charts and currently has 1.3 billion streams on Spotify. Less than a year, 1.3 billion streams.
Killing it.
This month, she won her first Grammy for New Artist and called out record labels for not providing living wages and health care for artists. Made big news on that one.
Thank you.
Made very big news on it. So, shout out to Chapel. There we go.
Chapel.
Uh-huh.
Chapel Roan. Roan.
Yeah, that's it.
Happy birthday.
Big deal, Mike. She, I don't know. I would put her on like the, I'd put her on a list of like, she's definitely in the top 10 most famous pop artists of the current day. You might even put her in the top 5. She might even, I mean, it would be hard because you'd have to put, I would put, Justin Biebs up there, even though he hasn't released anything, he's still insanely popular. Well, no, I might even take him off, even with him out on there. The Weeknd would be on there. Taylor Swift would be on there. Olivia Rodrigo would be on there.
Billie Eilish.
Billie Eilish would be on there. That's true. Yeah. So she probably doesn't make the top 5, but it makes top 10, I would say. Top 10. Yeah. So happy birthday. Happy birthday.
Nice.
Mike, ready to rip some headlines?
How old is she, Doc G? Just curious.
I actually did not write down the year. Let me just real
I'm gonna
quick.
say 22.
She's turning 27.
27.
So it was 1998. 1998 when she was born. Yep. She had that, like I said, she had that bit where she struggled for a little bit in the career. So she's a little, I mean, she's obviously not old, but she's a little bit older.
Word.
But anywho, Mike, are you ready to rip some headlines?
Well, let's rip some headlines, Doc G.
It's now time for Rip from the Headlines.
Mike, I've got a headline from CBS News. Quote, why U.S. ranchers and farmers are alarmed about Canada's super pigs.
Wait, what?
Mike, are you alarmed about Canada's super pigs?
You know, Doc G, may come as no surprise. I didn't know there was a super pig.
I didn't until this article either, Mike. I did not know.
Nope.
And Mike, I looked into it. They're not just a regular pig wearing a Superman cape. This is something completely different. This is a crossbreed between a wild boar and a domestic pig.
Interesting. I thought domestic pigs sort of turn into wild boars when they get out into the wild.
To a degree, but not like, they're not actually, they have different genes.
They don't grow. Okay.
But Ryan Brook, Dr. Ryan Brook, a professor of agriculture and resources, explained why it's so hard to get rid of these super pigs, Mike. He said their biology makes them very, very hard to get rid of. They reproduce faster than you can shoot them. And you know, Mike, you know me. I'm not a gun advocate.
Nope.
But I would definitely say that statement really depends on how many guns you have and how many people you've got shooting. Like,
That's true.
I think you can outpace them. Just depends. You get a couple of automatic rifles out there, you're gonna mow down some pigs pretty fast.
Yeah.
You can get rid of them. It's not like they're humping over there and you're like, oh God, there's 7,000 coming out. Oh, it's like some kind of alien video game that you're trying to get rid of there.
Yeah.
Now in the article, they say the folks of Saskatchewan call Elaine Gillett. He catches and kills nearly 5 pigs a week.
Word.
And when they said that in the article too, Mike, I was like, that is a really underwhelming number for me. I thought they were going to say a lot more than that. I was like, 5? Like, at least you could say like 100. That seems like, I don't know. No wonder you're not outpacing their reproduction. 5's not going to do it.
Not a lot, no.
But Mike, American farmers are worried the super pigs are going to head down south. Dr. Brooks believes it's not if the super pigs spill over the border, but when.
Ooh.
Yeah. So,
Those are
Mike,
pretty menacing looking pigs.
that's
Dr.
right.
Jones.
That's right. And the scary thing is they basically look like a wild boar, but then they got
do.
the smarts of the domestic pig.
Ah.
You know? So if you're walking down the road and you see a pig that maybe looks sort of super, Mike, you take that thing out.
Yeah, take it out.
You
guys.
take it down. Because it's bad news for the world, especially for America. So just doing our part, Mike. Just letting people know about the super pigs out there. Mike, I've got a headline from Complex. Quote, Sexy Red says she owns 600 pairs of True Religion jeans, even though they're seen as, quote, too ghetto, end quote.
Too ghetto?
Yep. Yeah, that's what she said.
Interesting.
She said that. Mike, I checked True Religion's Wikipedia page, and it says nothing about being too ghetto. So, not there. Not there. Also, I hope she was exaggerating about 600. I mean, I looked at her actual quote in the interview, and it seems like an exaggeration. Like, she was like, I own, like, 600 pairs. Because if not, that's too much.
That's way too much.
That's way too much. Like, that's almost 2 years worth of jeans. You don't need 2 years worth of jeans. You need, like, maybe a week's. That's the great thing about jeans. You can wear those things 4 months in a row and they won't go bad. I bet you Kendrick had those boot cuts on for 2 months before the Super Bowl. Just wearing them all over the place. By the way, I don't know if you saw, Mike. Did you see where Dane Cook posted an Instagram post of him wearing his boot cut jeans that he wore on the Vicious Cycle tour? And he was like, now that Kendrick brought it back, I'm bringing mine back. And I was like,
Yeah. I did see that.
and
hilarious.
And the hilarious part was, Mike, they look the exact same. I was like, yes, those are them. Wow. Anyways. I got sidetracked when I was looking.
I'm sorry, but I think the jeans look stupid. I know that's my opinion. I know it's controversial, but I think all the bootcut jeans look pretty stupid.
No,
they're bell bottoms.
It's like I told you, Mike. I feel like if you're going to do that, you need to fully commit to the 70s look. Like, you can't wear
they have to be
other
super wide.
Yeah,
Like, they have to be basically Jinko style on the bottom.
Well, like
tight on the top.
You should have other things going on if you're going to wear them, in my opinion. It's like we were talking about. I feel like if you're wearing those, I need to see a button-up shirt unbuttoned down to your navel. That's what you need to have.
Last button. The last button is buttoned.
Little chest hair coming out of the top. You know, I want to see that if you're going to do it. Otherwise, get out of here. I don't need it. But, Mike, I got sidetracked when I was looking up the True Religion. Of course, what did I see? I saw Google reviews. Woohoo! I saw Google reviews.
True Religion jeans?
Yes. And I had to read one, Mike. This one's my favorite. So this is from a guy or lady, I don't know. It's their name was A Aponte. Aponte. A Aponte, I'm guessing. That's how I would name it. Anyways, they gave a 1 star, Mike. They gave a 1 star. Here is their review. Quote, company is garbage. Ordered like 10 shirts, all run small. Didn't even bother returning. I just gave them out to my family. Then, when I sent an email about this, they sent me a reply that my order had been shipped, knowing damn well that my prior email had nothing to do with shipping. End quote. Mike, why the did you send an email if you already gave the shirts away? What was the point? Just return the shirts and get a bigger size and don't act like a moron. Like, what are you talking about? And
come on.
And 10 shirts? Why do you need 10 shirts? Are you sexy red? That is way too many shirts. Like,
a lot of shirts.
Especially when you don't know how the sizes run. How many should I get?
Yeah.
400? Yeah, that'll be good. We'll see if they work. I don't know. Like, it's ridiculous, Mike.
Yeah.
But
gotta order one. Wear
test
for
it
like
out.
10 weeks.
Test
and
it
then
out.
Then you go crazy.
Yeah, and then if you're like, this shirt is awesome, I'm going for some more. Like, ridiculous, Mike. Mike, this next article was all over the news. I don't know if you saw this. Did you see any Pete Davidson news this week?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, so he did an interview with Page Six. Here's the headline, quote, Pete Davidson says he's been harassed and humiliated about his love life because he's ugly. Yeah. Yeah, apparently he did, like I said, Mike, this interview with Page Six, and he let them know, because of all the ladies that he's went out with. You can name them all, the Ariana Grandes, the Kim Kardashians, all those folks. He said he was harassed about those relationships because he was ugly. And you know what I want to say, Mike? I just want to say, Pete, you're not ugly.
Nope.
You are ugly relative to the people you date.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a good thing.
Yeah.
You're dating up. You know?
He's definitely dating up.
Let me give an example of how this works. I'm not tooting my own horn, Mike, but if you just showed a picture of me to a person and asked, is this guy ugly? I don't think a ton of people would say yes. I think most people would say, no, he's fine. But you show them a picture of me standing beside Glenn Powell, and they'd say, who's the ugly hobo beside Glenn Powell? Right? It's a difference. And that's what you're doing. Pete, you're standing beside an attractive person. And by relation, you look ugly. Some people think it goes the other way, Mike, and it definitely does not go the other way. You are not attractive by association. No. That never happens. You are the ugly duckling. When you stand beside a lot of attractive people, you become the ugly person. It's just that's the way it works. So, Pete, I'm with you, man. You should not have been, marginalized by this, but you just got to know it comes with the territory. You were dating some really attractive people. That's what happens. That's what happens. And congratulations, because they were really attractive.
Mm-hmm. They were.
Which, by the way, Mike, I don't know if you saw, Kim Kardashian got denied by Luka Doncic this past week.
Oh, really?
Yeah. She put out this post on, I think it was on Instagram. She did on her story. She was like, I need to learn Slovenian, talking about like now that he was coming. And Luka responded, please don't. I was like, you know me, Mike. I'm not the biggest Luka fan, but I was like, you went up like 47 points in my book, Luka. That's pretty hilarious. That turn down, like that's good stuff. Mike, I got
good defense.
Oh, hey, there we go. Mike, I got a headline from Us Weekly. Quote: Benny Blanco knew he was going to marry Selena Gomez after the first date. That's pretty impressive, Mike. That doesn't happen too often. But I do find it funny how you hear that all the time. I knew after the first date sort of thing.
Wonder how high the divorce rate is for those people.
Well, what I was thinking,
after the first date,
I would guess it's high, Mike. But like the thing that I was thinking of is like how it's a really cute story when you hear it when they're getting married. Like, oh, you knew the first date? Yeah. But like if they didn't get married, this would be the opening line of his Netflix murder documentary. Like, I knew I was gonna marry her. Then they didn't get married, and he killed her in her house. Like, just like, yeah, sure, it sounds nice when everything works out, but if it doesn't,
too much.
But if it doesn't work out, it sounds a little psychotic.
It does.
Takes two to tango, you know. But don't worry, Mike. So far, it's worked out for him.
That's a fact.
And they did this interview apparently in Interview Magazine, which I didn't know was a thing, but they did it in Interview Magazine. And basically, the whole interview was talking about how much they loved each other.
That's nice.
He said in one part of the interview, he said, quote, "It's so good because I get her out and she calms me down when I need it. She's the first person that I've been with where I'm like, I don't even give a what's going on. I could sit in this bed with you for 72 hours and feel like I don't miss anything. She's like my heroin and Xanax combined." I got to be honest, Mike. It seems like Benny really likes to exaggerate there. 72 hours and heroin? Like, general rule of thumb, Mike, don't compare your significant others to narcotics. It's just
not a good idea.
I don't think that's, it's not good. Not good. But you know what, Mike? I think that's it for Selena news. I think we're done for a little while on Selena news. I've done enough.
You know what, Doc G, can I just jump in here
Sure.
real quick? Speaking of Taco Bell.
Yes.
I'm working on my taxes. And last year, kind of disappointing numbers here. I only spent $28.99 on Taco Bell.
You actually went back and added it, though? That's impressive.
Yeah, man. I itemize all of my every transaction I do throughout the year.
Wow.
And as it stands right now, $28.99 in Taco Bell, but total taco spend.
Yeah.
I know nobody cares. $618.34.
Ooh, so coming from a lot of other places.
Yeah.
What was the highest place? Do you know?
Looks like Del Taco at
Okay.
$168.
Wow, but so you spread it around though. So like I mean that has that's not a majority of that $600 on tacos. So it's spread out. Wow, okay. Wow.
Yeah. Wow. So if that's the it's pretty spread out. But Del Taco is definitely leading. It's got the most
I like it, Mike. A goal for 2025, more Taco Bell.
Yeah.
More Taco Bell. You need to get them back into the rotation,
Doc G, thank you, by the way. I just wanted to, I was like, I need to mention this taco spend on the show. Where can I insert it? And right there. That was it.
That works. But now we know, Mike, like I said, I'm putting the brakes on Selena for at least a couple of weeks. I think the people have heard enough about Selena.
Yeah.
I'm going to stop. No more Selena headlines for a while. Mike, here's a good headline, though, from People. Quote, 6-foot shark bites off woman's hands when she tries to engage with the animal and take photographs.
Ugh.
Mike, first off, I hope the lady's doing okay.
Yeah, for sure.
That sounds pretty horrible. But I'm also going to make a hard and fast rule right now. Don't engage with sharks. Engagements with sharks will always end in divorce. In this case, it was divorce with her hands.
Oh, God.
And I would prefer not to have that divorce in my life, Mike.
That's a fact.
I just, honestly, we didn't get all the news of this, Mike, but apparently she was like reaching her hands in there to try to get the shark's attention. And I was like, what? No. Why? Why would you do that? They like to eat things. Don't put your hands in there.
This was in the ocean, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
She was in the ocean trying to engage with a shark.
Yeah, she was in the ocean. She saw the shark. She wanted to get a better picture of it. So she, like, I think, again, it wasn't fully explained, but I think she, like, splashed in front of it, you know, trying to get its attention so it would come towards her. And, of course, it did come towards her, and it bit her hands off.
Oh,
so, you know, it's, yeah.
Man.
But, yes, yeah, I hope you're doing all right, lady.
Yeah.
Mike, let's go ahead. We're going to take a break. We're going to be right back here on the Doc G Show. And we are back here on the Doc G Show. Spinnaker Radio, WSKRLP 95.5 FM in Jacksonville, Florida. Mike, what should the listeners do?
Well, Doc G, if the listeners feel like the show is a positive way to waste their time, they should please subscribe to the show wherever they get their podcasts. We are on Apple, we're on Spotify, we're on YouTube, SoundCloud, wherever you get your podcasts, please subscribe. It is a cost-effective way to support the show. And listeners, if you are feeling extra generous, please leave us a 5-star review. We would love that.
Mike, to add to that, we're now on Sirius XM as far as their podcast unit.
Let's go.
And we're
serious.
We're on Pandora Plus as well.
Nice.
I did that specifically for one gentleman, my friend Mr. Lee.
Say what?
Yes. Lee was like, "Hey,
love it.
What are you on?" And I gave him the different the platforms, and he was like, "Oh, I still use Pandora Plus," and I was like, "What are you, 115? Who still uses Pandora?" And he's like, "Lay off me!" And so I put it on there, Mike.
There we go.
So now I'm gonna look at the analytics from Pandora, and it's gonna be one listen.
Let's get it.
That's one more than we had before, Mike.
Yes, it is.
Okay, so let's thank the regulars. Let's get those regulars out here. Let me rearrange this real quick, Mike. Get this in the proper order.
Oh, come on.
Okay. Shout out to Columbia, South Carolina, Radford, Virginia, Gainesville, Florida, Frankfurt, Germany, Anoka, Minnesota, Ashburn, Virginia, Piracai, Brazil, San Diego, California, Dublin, Ireland, Boardman, Oregon, Genoa, Italy, Riches, Texas, Barcelona, Spain, Winfield, West Virginia, Biloxi, Mississippi, Tulsa, Oklahoma, Peoria, Illinois, Katy, Texas, Toms River, New Jersey, Olive Branch, Mississippi, Asheville, North Carolina, Los Angeles, California, Spartanburg, South Carolina, Athens, Georgia, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, Chicago, Illinois, Boynton, Virginia, Fort Lauderdale, Florida, Columbus, Ohio, Falkenstein, Germany, and Jacksonville, Florida. There we go, Mike. That's a pretty solid run. What do you think?
I love it. I love it. I love it.
I had
kind of Brazil. Brazil, come on, man. What happened there? You said like something like Brazier.
I had a little stumble there, but it wasn't a full. It was just a voice modulation. So
it was really good.
You know,
really good, Doc G.
You know, Mike 4-star listens. Got some big ones here. Quote. What am I? What? Am I on drugs? What's going on?
Quoting yourself.
Exactly. Quote, this is what Doc said. Fort Worth, Texas. Shout out to Fort Worth, man. They've been getting the listens. The Dallas area. So shout out to the whole Dallas area because we got a couple. I mean, we got the regular Richardson, Texas, which is right in the area. And Fort Worth has been getting it done. So shout out to Fort Worth.
Yeah, thank you, Fort Worth.
Miami, Florida, getting it done. The whole South Florida, just a clap for you guys there. It's you've been getting it. Phoenix, Arizona, shout out to you. Hotlanta, Atlanta, Georgia, shout out to you. Back to South Florida, Mike. Weston, Florida, shout out to Weston. Fernandina, all the way on the other side of Florida, on the north side. Fernandina Beach, Florida. Brunswick, Georgia. Richmond, Virginia, shout out to you guys. Moss Point, Mississippi, Mike. Yeah, I haven't had a time to investigate Moss Point, but Moss Point's near the coast. They're on that little point where they've got coast in Mississippi. I'm betting you I'd like Moss Point.
I like moss.
I enjoy moss too.
Like coming from the trees, it's nice.
I like I like both moss. I like real moss and I like Spanish moss.
Yeah. Maybe Spanish moss is what I'm talking about.
You're talking about Spanish moss hanging from the trees. Yeah, the gray stuff.
From the trees.
Yeah. Yeah, that's Spanish moss. Real moss, is just the short, looks almost like grass, but too short to be grass. Real. Green cover.
It's very green.
Yes. You see a lot of it in Ireland. They get a lot of moss. You see it a lot of it in the Northwest as well. Ton of moss out there. It's got to be wet and fairly cold to get a lot of a regular moss. Okay. Not so much on the old Spanish moss. Gotcha. In North Florida, it's everywhere. Council Bluffs, Iowa. Shout out to them. Nashville, Tennessee. Yes! Shout out to them. Tampa, Florida. Remember, they might be giants coming your way. We're going to be talking to them in a little bit. Albany, New York. Detroit, Michigan.
That's right.
And lastly, Mike, Helsinki, Finland. There we go. So shout out to everybody. Mike, we've been getting some good analytics the last several weeks, Some solid analytics.
Love it. Love to hear it.
We had our first on Apple first show of last year go over 2,000 listens just on Spotify by itself.
Wow.
Just on Apple by itself. So
that's amazing.
So yeah, solid, very solid. So thanks to everybody that's listening. We appreciate it. Keep it going. Spread the word, as Mike said. Get it out there. Mike, it's time for your new favorite segment. Another guest turned us down, and I didn't like the way they turned us down. Here we go, Mike. This, I might start saying their names, because who cares? But for now, I'm not going to say their name. So this email interaction was from a pretty popular country singer. So he's got a little over 1 million followers on Spotify, so he's doing good,
That's right.
He's got 5 shows that are going to be in Florida. And so I obviously thought, hey, let's see if he wants to come on the show, talk about those Florida shows, promote his stuff. So, of course, Mike, I sent the usual email. Now, I first emailed his manager, Mike. Radio silence from the manager. Nothing, right? So I went back, I looked at it, I was like, okay. So I don't know, Mike, if you know, but usually if that happens, here's what I'll do. I'll be like, you know what? I should probably see if he's already on tour or not. And if he's already on tour, then I'll contact the tour manager, right? Because the tour manager has basically control of everything that they're doing for the day-to-day while they're on tour. So he was already on tour. So I was like, oh, okay, well, I'll email the tour manager. So I sent it back out to the tour manager. I sent him the email on January 22nd, Mike, and I did the normal. Just explained what the show was, explained that he had shows coming up in Florida, and I'd like to promote him and talk about his career. Here's the email I got back on February 7th. So notice the time, Mike.
Yeah,
that's over 2 weeks of time.
Mm-hmm.
No salutations. This is the only thing that the email says, Mike. Quote, meant to tell you that I did forward this to management in Nashville. ... on 1/22.
Word.
The end. That's it. The whole email, Mike.
I don't like that.
No sign off, no salutations, nothing. That's what he told me. Meant to tell you that I did forward this to management in Nashville on 1/22.
Lots of dots.
So you meant to tell me you did something completely pointless 2 weeks ago that doesn't do anything for either of us? Cool. What was the point of this email, Mike? Like, you just sent this so that you could feel like, hey, I did something here. I told him that I sent it to management. You're the tour manager. You can schedule anything you want in his tour. You could have made this happen, but instead you were like, I sent it to management. Yeah, I already did that, you turd bag. I did that before I sent you the email. Just ridiculous, Mike.
Yeah, seriously.
And then at least put a, hey, Ben, you're not that busy. I know you're not working 24 hours a day to put 5 seconds of effort in to say, hey, not even Ben, hey, and then end it with your name instead of nothing.
Yeah.
Ugh. Irritated me, Mike.
Yeah, that's super rude.
Irritate. Like, I mean, would you agree with me on this one? It would have been better not to send anything.
Yeah, pretty much.
Don't send anything. I would have completely forgot about it in that case.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even notice. But this I get, and I'm like, why? Why did you send this?
But at the same time, thank you for sending this, because I absolutely love hearing these emails.
Of course. Of course.
I love this segment.
Of course. It's ridiculous, Mike. It is ridiculous. But someone that did return our emails and is fantastic. Mike, do you have something?
I was going to say, we do. I want to say that we do get a lot of nice emails back from managers and tour managers. They set up interviews, but it is fun to hear the rejection. Everybody gets rejected, and
Mike,
nobody ever talks about it.
Do you think maybe like every so often I should counterbalance it with a very nice email?
No, you don't need to.
No, that's not fun. Don't do that.
No.
Okay,
the good emails are the interviews.
That's true.
You get the interviews.
Yeah, you know those went well. That's true. That's true. Okay. Mike, we are going to be back with one of those people, right? As soon as we get back from this break here with They Might Be Giants right here on the Doc G Show. Welcome back to the show, everyone. We are very excited to be welcoming one half of the fantastic group, They Might Be Giants, who have been performing for over 40 years. They've won two Grammys.
2,000 years. 2,000 Grammys.
I feel like that's
heavy metal, all for their work in heavy metal.
I feel like that's a little exaggerated, but I know there was at least two. They've got fans all over the world, and they will be in St. Petersburg, Florida, February 28th. Please welcome John F. John, how are you, sir?
I'm doing great, Benjamin. We're playing at Janus Landing, where half the people listening's cousins lost their front tooth.
Absolutely.
In the pit.
Well, now, I mean, starting off there, a little exaggeration on the time, but you and John have been going for over 4 decades.
It just sounds so wrong, you know? I mean, it's just like, what's the good part? What's the good part of being in a band for 40 years? And can they still, get out of their car just barely? Just barely. No, but it's fun being in a band.
Do you ever look at John and go, what? How is it 40 years? How did that happen?
Well, it's been a pretty action-packed 40 years, It's been a lot to keep up with it. I guess the truth is, it's like we weren't. It's all kind of unexpected, so it all seems like a manic episode. People will say, like, what was your plan when you started? And it was like, we didn't have any plan at all. It seemed. And I've said this before, but I feel like They Might Be Giants has always been like among the most stoppable forces in entertainment. So I just. We started really just for kicks, and it really clicked with people in a very organic way, and we just kind of kept with it.
So would you say, I mean, sort of the secret of the longevity for you is a bit of the openness, a bit of the spontaneity to do sort of really anything you guys are feeling at the time?
Yeah, I mean, we've definitely changed it up as we've gone along. Like, I mean, when we first started, I'm trying to think of the actual rules we had when we first started, because we did have some. Like, I mean, when we first started, we had a rule which was no solos, which is, and since neither John or I are like fantastic. I mean, John's a pretty good improviser, but I'm a terrible improviser, and it was a pretty easy promise to keep to ourselves. But as we've taken on other musicians who are fantastic improvisers, we now do a show that has all sorts of near jam band levels of improvisation in it, and those are some of the highlights of the show. So you do try to be flexible. I think a lot of, I don't know, a musician's life is very strange, because things that you say no to very early on without ever thinking twice about it can kind of come back and haunt you later on. I mean, I really didn't. I mean, this is kind of an inside show business kind of thing to talk about. But when you get signed to a publishing deal, the publishing companies will give you like a huge advance. It's like a career kind of changing, house buying level of advance. And one of the things they do early on in that relationship is they kind of push you really hard. They want to recoup all the dough they put out to you by getting you placed in as many high-profile things as they can figure out. Like, you suddenly become, even if you might not be a priority for them a year later, that quarter they're going to be like, let's try to offset this completely. Of course, we were just tadpoles, so we thought like, well, everybody's loving us so hard and they're just going to love us even more later on. But we got offered up like soundtracks on a bunch of movies, and we were so nervous about how it would be perceived or misunderstood. I was very upfront, like, I've got to see a video of this movie. It was one of the movies, it was for a movie called Citizen Band, starring Christian, I think it was Citizen Band, or maybe that's Weird Al Yankovic. So we got offered like a ton of dough to have a song placed in this Christian Slater movie. And I just was second guessing everything. Like, I just thought like, oh no, people think we're some kind of sellouts, blah, blah, blah. And we were like, no, we don't want our song in that movie. And then a couple of years later, I was hanging out with Charles Thompson, the front guy from the Pixies, and he had a song in that movie. And like, nobody, and he was like, yeah, they gave us all this money. It was great. And I was like, oh, I'm so dumb. Like, why do I do these dumb things? I second guess everything. I'm like, what's wrong with me? I should have just grabbed the dough.
Just be more open from the start.
Yeah, I mean, I guess part of it was like things were, we grew up with the Beatles, and we grew up in a time when like there was a lot of second guessing about like what was right and wrong for like bands. These days, in a world of influencers, I think people just think anything that makes you better known is good for business for a lot of people. So.
Well, and honestly, that's the other thing is as fast as things sort of come and go, even if you make a ridiculous decision, people have forgot about it pretty quick. They'll move on pretty fast.
Well, I know there's some people in the culture who are definitely banking on that right now.
Well, you've got, through the career, you've got all these highlights. I mean, things that people would recognize, things that people know, the albums like Flood, theme songs.
Right.
When you're out and about, what would you say people like come up to you the most about? If they come up to you and say, hey, I just wanted to let you know, what's the They Might Be Giants thing they ask about the most or talk about?
There are a lot of people now who are like concert going age who grew up with our children's music. So we have a lot of teenagers and young people at the show who basically are from They Might Be Giants families, which is very which is kind of makes me feel like Peter Tork, like it's like okay, that's nice, but
Yeah.
but it's very avuncular. It's kind of a slightly different vibe than just being in a rock band. But the enduring legacy of just having songs on MTV that really stood out, videos on MTV that really stood out, I think have really helped us. In a way, considering how ubiquitous the TV theme stuff was, it also seemed it was so faceless. I don't think people, I think a lot of your listeners would be surprised to find out, like, we did the theme song for The Daily Show with Jon Stewart for over a decade. We did multiple versions of it, and the version that's on it now still is like a remix version using the music that we recorded. The composition is by Bob Mould of Husker Du, and it's a really driving song, and we were kind of honored to be able to get to do our version of it, but it stuck, and a ton of people know it, but it's sort of like it's still kind of secret. I mean, a lot more people know the Malcolm in the Middle song is Us, I guess, because it has vocals and it's more up our alley in a regular way.
That was me and my brother were actually talking about it last night, because he didn't know you guys had done that the version of The Daily Show. And and he was like, yeah, well, a lot of things are sort of like that. He's like, even for a long time, I didn't realize when we were younger and we were watching MTV and the MTV news segment with the Megadeth bass clip that would come in, the doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo, like, we didn't know that was a Megadeth song for like years, and then all of a sudden realized, oh, they just cut that. And like, I sort of wonder how many millions of people know that Daily Show intro and don't know, have no clue, of course, that it's you guys. Yeah,
well, I mean, I don't know if you remember the end of the Daily Show, but they used to have like this credit roll that was going at like a psychotically fast rate. Our name is in there somewhere. I've never seen it, but I mean, that's about all the credit that they gave us. So
if you freeze it, instant freeze there. Well, now, I mean, it amazed me, like, when I was going back and thinking about questions about doing this interview, it amazes me how deep some of your fans' dedication goes.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the front row, as we call them, are an incredible, they are a force of nature. And it actually, it really, it's hard to even sum up how important it's been to our longevity, because they've really stuck with us. Like, the hard kind of harsh truth of a lot of bands is, you evolve, you do different things, you have different ideas, you approach things in different ways, your sound changes, and a lot of fans are like, I don't like it. I mean, they just jump off. And it's not like they loved you when they loved you, but they're not necessarily like that fully invested in kind of
ride or die.
Ride or die. And for whatever reason, and I'm not exactly sure why it is, but we've been extremely fortunate, and it just seems like, we have more people following the band now than ever. I know that's one of those things that people say that is like it's a kind of a phony sounding thing to say, but like we just got back from this UK tour. We played for like almost 9,000 people in London over the course of 2 nights. We barely played for 2,000 people in London, on any tour of the UK that we've ever done in our entire history of performing. Like, we're doing 2-night stands almost everywhere we go. We're selling out like so many. It's just weird. It's just I don't know. It's hard to keep up with. To be perfectly honest with you.
Do you? I mean, you were talking about like some of the fans that were fans of like your children's songs that now go. Do you think, like, because I was talking about this with just another artist yesterday. Do you see a good amount of people that like just catch a video on social media of They Might Be Giants and then are like, oh, they're in town? Like, have you ever ran into those people that aren't like the super dedicated fans, but literally it's like one video and they came in?
Oh yeah, I mean, there are always people at our shows that are just have either been like dragged along by their friends, and I think when we're constructing the show, one of the things that we try to always keep in mind is like, what would it be like to experience what we're doing if you really didn't know anything about us? Like, how do we kind of confect? How do we organize ourselves in a way that's going to be persuasive for them? Because I mean, I think one thing that scares people about any band that's like we don't want to be like the cultural cilantro of alternative music. It's very easy to when you're in a band that kind of runs to the left of center, you run the risk of people leaning on the leave part of take it or leave it, And so we try to do stuff that has that you can kind of understand the appeal of immediately, and that doesn't have to mean like we are just doing our most popular songs. Like I remember we do a song called Older. John Linnell put the song together like around the 2000s, right? Actually, when we started doing kid stuff, but it was on one of our adult albums. And the thing that was so fantastic about the song is that you can experience the song in a completely linear way. Like you don't have to have ever heard it before, and it still is kind of surprising and exciting. And maybe the best time to hear it is the first time you hear it. But I just knew, like, when he played me the song, I was like, we are going to be playing this song, at every radio station we go to for the next 25 years.
Well, I mean, I love asking that question, but do you have that? Because some artists think when they write a song, they think this, you're like, oh, this one's going to be great. This one's going to be huge. Like your bigger songs and the more successful, albums and whatnot that you've had. Did you have a feeling with those as opposed to some of the others? Or
I wish we had better. I mean, this is a conversation that John and I have had a bunch over the years. Like, I wish either of us had a better sense of how to write for an audience, or when you look at people who are like really good at it, like you look at somebody like Bono or like Prince, or there are people who have and even now, like just like anybody who's like, there are people they're songwriters who are so tapped into their audience, they can really contour their writing to kind of to that crowd. I think we would be so much more successful if we had any ability to do that. I mean, we have a lot of ideas, but most of them seem like crazy ideas. I love connecting with people just on a as a performer. But it's definitely it's not obvious to me like what's going to work and what's not going to work.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you guys have, to a degree, you've always seemed to be ahead of the digital curve.
Yeah, well, we've been early adopters in a lot of different formats, and it's funny how it's perceived, because sometimes people give us a lot more credit than I think we really deserve. We did a thing early on that kind of really set a tone, which was we had a phone machine in Brooklyn, in my apartment, where we changed the outgoing message every day with a different song, and that became advertised. At first, it was called Dial a Machine, and then it became Dial a Song, and that really kind of established us early on as this kind of
innovative.
Yeah, I mean, we weren't. For a lot of people, they just thought that was our project. We were kind of like a performance piece. Like there is this phone line that you can call and hear an unusual sounding song. They weren't necessarily even thinking, oh, it's a band, or they play live, or they make records, or whatever. And I think these days, in the 21st century, we live in a world of branding where people think about how everything they do fits a style, and we also live in a world of the gift economy where people give away a lot of what they're doing as a way to kind of earn the fandom of their audience. And what's funny is that those ideas were a million miles away when we started. Multiple record companies that approached us early on were mortified at the idea of dial-up song. They were like, you would think like people would be like, oh man, that's genius. Like this is going to be so great for you because you've already got this established crowd. But they were like, no, that is terrible. It looks pathetic. It looks, what are you doing? Like you're giving away stuff that you want people to buy. Like you're out of your mind. And, but of course, like, they weren't thinking like, what's the radio? Like, you're playing songs on the radio, you're giving away music. It's like music is one of the most natural things to give away in the world. And, we were just doing it for fun. I mean, to be perfectly candid, but it meant so much more back then. Because people were just so much more calculating about everything. Like we were really just thought like, well, if we do nothing else, at least we have some fighting chance of people actually hearing what we're doing, at least this way. Maybe it is kind of pathetic. And, it wasn't like it worked right away. I mean, we started Dial Song in like 1983, I guess. And, we didn't even do an indie record till 86, really 87. So we were a local band for we just crawled out of New York City.
Well, I mean, it eventually definitely kept on. People kept on asking for it back too. I mean, yeah. No, people love the spirit of Dial Song. I mean, I think they just find it, the spontaneity, the sort of lack of preciousness about it. Everything about it is winning. Well, now, I mean, on that technology tip, I've noticed on Instagram, I've noticed how you every now and then, and I would like to speak for all the cat fans out there.
Oh yeah,
I appreciate your cat posts.
People do like cat posts. I love my cats. I'm surprised they aren't stepping on the keyboard right now. It's funny. It's like a world unto itself. I don't want to make too many assumptions. I'm also in a band with other people, and I don't know. Every time I put up anything related to my cats, I just think like, are they just thinking like, what is this guy doing?
Hey, it gets, like you said, it gets a good response. It's MC Fresh Step and password, right?
Yep, password 1234.
There we go. Now, are they upset when you leave for tour, or is it more like make sure you feed me and I'm okay?
MC Fresh Step is a very emotionally needy cat. So he really he needs a lot of loving. But my wife's here taking care of him, and they have a very special bond as well. So
there you go. The tabbies are usually needier in my experience. They need a little bit more. Well, gearing up. You've got 3 shows coming here in Florida. You got Orlando, St. Petersburg, Fort Lauderdale. These are the big show. 8-piece band, 3 horns, 2 sets, and no opener. So you're giving the people what they want. Was that for that particular reason, or were you just like, you know what, it might just be easier if we just crank it out all ourselves?
It just makes it all better because we get to do a full-length show. People get an adult portion of where we're at. We can stretch out, and the show doesn't go into the middle of the night, which is on a practical level. Sometimes we're driving really big distances from one place to another, and we actually need those hours to get to the next place because our production days really go from sometimes 11 o'clock in the morning till 1 in the morning, even with an early show. But we're happy to be back at the in the Bermuda Triangle of rock that in Florida that is And all the shows are sold out except for St. Pete. So, but I have a special announcement to make, which is my mom is coming to the St. Pete show. So, so if you want to meet my mom, just keep an eye out. She'll be wearing a They Might Be Giants t-shirt and a They Might Be Giants hat.
There you go.
She's a big booster.
Big fan. Now, fan. I real quick on that, as far as like the openers. I've heard back in the day when you guys were sort of struggling to get up there, working your way through the ranks, you had some real weird matches of style with other bands, some weird amalgamations of shows where like you didn't necessarily match with who you were playing with.
Well, I don't know who we'd match with. What
was the weirdest, would you say, though, that you can think of that you were just like, man, this is going to be odd. This is going to be a weird show for us.
Well, there are a couple of shows that my mom came to that we did in performance art spaces that are so transgressive, I can't describe them on the radio. And my mom was at those shows. It seemed like my mom was like a magnet for the worst obscene. We did a show. We played at Irving Plaza opening for do you remember the band Fishbone?
Oh, yeah.
Now, Fishbone was an interesting band because on record, if you're a Fishbone fan, you're probably familiar. Like they were not like a super amazing recording act. Like their songs were okay. They could sort of sound like a little bit on the kind of like an okay day at the Red Hot Chili Pepper Corral.
Yeah.
But what was amazing about Fishbone is their live show was just incendiary, if that's a word. I mean, it was like they were just insane. It was like watching like Parliament Funkadelic, drinking like 20 Red Bulls. Like they were so jumped up on their personal crazy funk expression, and they just blew us off the stage. And it was actually, that show. I mean, we opened for a bunch of very big bands early on, and kind of realized like, maybe this might sort of be like kind of ego trippy sounding, but it was like, it's better to be like the star of your own life than to be like the warm up act for somebody else's amazing life. And and because They Might Be Giants is kind of a take it or leave it act, I think we felt like we were kind of serving ourselves better to feel confident about what we were doing rather than, I guess we just were probably a little fragile about what we were doing. Like we didn't feel like we didn't want to have to defend ourselves that much. A lot of bands, being in a band is like being in a gang, and people feel very they feel very strong and very proud of what they're doing. I think John and I felt a little bit, afraid that like this really isn't for everybody, and that's okay. That's not so wrong. I mean, we've had a lot of amazing bands open for us. I mean, the Pixies opened for us, and Soul Coughing opened some shows, and they were absolutely amazing. And this band Moon Hooch that a lot of people know, the great band, opened for us a bunch. Perubu opened for us. So over the years we've had a lot of great musical openers. But
did they win over your crowd, you think? All those bands?
No, they didn't. See, that's the other thing. Is it like, whoever invented the idea of opening? Sometimes it's cruel, man. It's cruel. It's absolutely.
It's hard to match. It's hard to match those fans. I mean, sometimes you get a good connection, but yeah, I've heard so many. Like I think the one band I can think of that like they were in a completely out of their element, but they sort of won people over, was the stories about Alice in Chains going out with like true, like just hard metal bands.
Oh, sure. But I
And-
think, but the Alice in Chains guys, they were secretly. I mean, they were in metal bands.
Yeah.
3 years before, so
Yeah.
they knew that world. But you know what act has opened for us a bunch, and totally won our crowd over was Jonathan Colton. That was a beautiful. He did a really stellar job of kind of keeping the ball rolling with our crowd.
Well, I mean, I think you might have already mentioned it, but what's the thing you're most excited for coming down to Florida?
Oh, it's just gonna be fun to be back on the road. These are the first shows we've done since our East Coast run, and we're learning the song "Stuff Is Way" for this tour, which is became our breakout TikTok song. So we're enjoying that weird TikTok bounce that that legacy acts have when something from their deep catalog gets pulled out and applied to.
Yeah, we had the group Ann Arbor on the show, and they had a song that it just ran on TikTok, and they none of their band was anywhere close to TikTok, and so they were so confused. They went back to their Spotify numbers, and they were like, "Why? Why is this song all of a sudden going crazy? Like, what's happening here?"
Oh yeah, the song "Stuff Is Way" is the second most popular song we've ever done on Spotify. So it's there are a lot of people who that's who. I mean, forget about doing the Daily Show theme people are like, oh, they're that band that does the song "Stuff Is Way," and we don't even know how to play it. We've never played it live. It's an album track that we did like 15 years ago. You'll
get there. We'll get there.
But we're gonna put it on the blocks and get it in the show, and so that's something to look forward to.
I was about to say we'll get to hear it, and your mom will get to hear it.
And my mom will get to hear it.
There we go.
She knows all the words.
Well, John, I don't want to take up any more of your time, but I want to thank you for coming on the show today.
Oh, it's been a total blast.
Yeah, listeners, make sure you check out the They Might Be Giants in St. Petersburg on February 28th. Right now, we're going to take a listen to Particle Man right here on the Doc G Show. And we are back here on the Doc G Show. You just heard John from They Might Be Giants. John and John, Mike. Fantastic career. They, in my opinion, they do what they want, and that's an amazing thing. You got 40 years of doing what interests you. You're not too concerned about what other people want out of you. You're like, you know what? This is the album I'm gonna make now. You know what? This is the music we're going to do. You know what? We're going to make a theme song. We don't care if you don't like our theme song. We're going to do it. It's pretty good, Mike.
I love that.
It's pretty amazing. And I got to say, I love John's cats, and I'm glad that he posts them on Instagram. I will reiterate that one more time. It's fantastic. Every now and then you need a break from the music. Throw a cat on there, Oh, yeah. So, if you guys are in the Tampa, St. Pete area coming in just 9 days, you're going to want to see them because most likely it's going to sell out very quickly. They will be playing in St. Petersburg February 28th. Thank you very much for They Might Be Giants coming on the show. We appreciate it, fellas.
Thank you.
Mike, time to move on to the fastest growing segment in the world.
Mike C, top three.
Mike, we might have to change the name of that introduction of the segment since I feel like we got turned down by another guest and I didn't like the way they turned us down. Has grown so fast. That might be a faster growing segment than the Mike C top three. I don't know.
Yeah, that's okay. That's all right. I love it.
Mike, we're still in one hit wonders. We're still here,
Yeah, we are.
and I don't care about it. And Mike, I'll be honest, I really feel like, again, we should have split it like into rap and rock, because I got a lot.
I mean, we still can. We
No.
could split
It would
up.
take too
No?
long
Okay.
now that I've got. We're gonna get them all out. We're gonna get them all out.
All right.
So we're gonna do the top 3, and then we'll do the honorable mentions. Now, Mike, I split the honorable mentions into 2 tiers. The ones that were close to being in the top 3, very close, and then the ones that I just felt like they needed honorable mentions. Okay.
Okay.
My number 3, Mike. D4L, Laffy Taffy. Yes. Mike, you get down on some Laffy Taffy?
I mean, only because I was in a nightclub or at a party.
Girl, shake that
and,
Laffy
that
Taffy.
song.
Laffy Taffy. Oh, shake that Laffy Taffy. Oh, my gosh, Mike. One of the gyms that I worked at, they played that thing like every, 2 hours or an hour, and you just be like, and we would actually get up on the desk at the gym and just start a snapping line.
That's right.
Shaking that Laffy Taffy. My God, what a goofy song, and I loved it. I loved it. Mike, you're number 3.
Take Me Out by Franz Ferdinand.
Now, I don't know, Mike. That might be another one. They might have too many other songs.
You know what? There's going to be probably a lot in my top. Actually, no, my other top 2 are definitely one-hit wonders.
Okay.
But I was going off Wikipedia. They're one-hit wonders.
Well, no, okay.
and based on their criteria.
I just looked it up. I thought maybe both of them didn't go up high enough. Neither of them reached peak position anyways. Take Me Out was 66 peak position. And then their other song, Do You Want To, which was pretty popular, was 76. So, yes. Counts, Mike.
I just and also, of course, I know that you said this isn't a criteria, but it's got 1 billion listens compared to the other song. I think it's got 100 million.
Which is very wild, though, Mike. It's again, this is now almost 20 years since that song came out. Actually, it is. But to think, it didn't even reach the top 50 in the Billboard charts when it came out. And now it's got over 1 billion streams. That's insane, Mike.
Yeah.
I'm guessing, I have no clue about this, but I'm I'm betting it was part of some trend on TikTok. I don't know, but I bet you that was the music to some trend on TikTok, which is one of the reasons why it has that insane number of
I don't know,
of
man.
listens.
It's a jam.
It's a jam, but that's what happened to a lot of those older songs, right? They become a part of a trend, and all of a sudden, millions and millions of streams. Okay, my number 2, Mike. You saw him in concert. Yellow Card, Ocean Avenue.
Yeah.
Jam,
Great jam.
Mike. Jam.
Yeah, it is.
Nothing to take away from their other jams, but that obviously was the focal point of their career. And it's one of those songs that feels so summery, and so you just get the vibes of a sunset. You get the vibes of cruising on, at least for me, a bike cruiser going down, a beach cruiser going down the boardwalk,
It's a good song.
And it's a hometown hero song. It's right here from Jacksonville, of course. He
is.
literally wrote it about Jacksonville. So, shout out to Yellow Card, and shout out for them giving us free tickets for you, Mike. So there you go.
Yeah, man. That was a great
There
show.
you go.
It was a great
Mike, you're number 2.
My number 2, Estelle, American Boy.
That's a good jam.
Yeah.
I remember that. Yeah. I don't know.
Good song.
What was the criteria on that one, Mike? Do you know? Did you look it up? As far as performance?
I looked at her other songs. They didn't have nearly as many plays as American Boy.
Sure.
I would say it's a one-hit wonder, probably because Kanye was also on the song during his.
See, I always have hard time with that one too. Because I cut out a couple where there were guest features of somebody very famous. because I was like,
yeah.
But it reached number 9, Mike, on the Billboard charts. American Boy did. And then Conqueror got to 42. Wow. That apparently, the Conqueror was the Empire cast featuring Estelle and Jussie Smollett. Wow. So she did a song with Jussie Smollett and Kanye. Woo!
Word.
Some good guest appearances right there. Mike, my number 1. Now, again, this one, it's getting a little bit dicey as far as the song because you could see it a couple other ways, but I don't know. Gnarls Barkley, Crazy.
Gnarls Barkley. Yep.
That was their only single, Mike, that actually like peaked the charts. Now, obviously, Danger Mouse and CeeLo Green have had a ton of hits outside of that. But they only had one as Gnarls Barkley. Together, as a group, they only had Crazy. And
you gotta wonder, why weren't there more? That's the one-hit wonder.
I love that song. I remember when that song came out, man, I was jamming on that thing like at least every single day. I mean, just that bass line and and CeeLo's voice is infectious, man. Like all of his songs that he's, the classic you that he did back in the day. Oh my gosh, that is such a huge hit. Like, and then when he was in Goody Mob, man, I loved all of his stuff in Goody Mob. He's been like, that's the crazy thing is like he's had like top 10 hits in like 5 different sort of capacities. Like it's crazy. Super talented guy, that CeeLo Green.
He is, man. He was in a lot of skate videos too, like a lot of skate sections.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Mike, you're number 1.
My number 1. By the way, going back to Estelle American Boy and then also Franz Ferdinand, these, and then this song, my number 1, these are all songs that like I would play every day, 2-3 times a day. So these were also Criterion.
Yeah.
Criterion.
Yeah.
Criterion. Okay. So my number 1, Cassie, Me and You. Man, that song is so good, man.
Pretty infectious.
I listened to it this morning. I added it back to my rotation of music.
It's back on every day, everyone.
It's back. It's going to be back in the rotation of unskippables. That's what I call that playlist.
Yeah.
The unskippables.
And it meets the criteria too, man. It meets the criteria. Oh, I forgot. She was the one that got beat up by P. Diddy, right? By Puff Daddy.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's
really.
I'm pretty positive.
That's unfortunate.
That's the video in the hotel. Yeah.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Yeah. God, I mean, that's a bad. Yeah, exactly. That dude.
Person. That
dude. I mean, I stopped doing it, Mike. But like literally every single week, I'll be cruising through the news stories, and there'll just be another one that's like, P. Diddy charged with this person. I'm like, holy crap! Good Lord! Like,
he's a terrible person, man. You do wonder. I mean, I wonder. I know that it's a conspiracy, but man, Notorious B.I.G. just got to wonder if he was in any way behind that.
Nah.
I know it's conspiracy.
I don't. Well, I mean, here I can't say no, but like, it doesn't really. It's one of those conspiracies, Mike, that you're like, okay, what would it help him? Look in the long run. This guy is his money horse that wants to stay at his record label, and he's making him millions and millions of dollars. Why would he be like, no, I want to quit that? Let's get rid of this guy that's making me super, super famous and rich. Like, that doesn't
I mean, he got huge after that happened. I don't know.
Yeah, but
if
he
there
can't
was some...
plan that. He doesn't know.
Yeah.
Like, you would think, at least I think a rational person, and he's not rational, so maybe this isn't the way he thinks, but like, you would think, oh, I get rid of my biggest number 1 rap artist, our company is going to shrivel up and die. That's what I would think. Like, I would be trying to hold on to B.I.G. with everything that I had if I was him. But, again, who knows? He seems to be a pretty wacky dude out there. So
Yeah, he is, man. Anyways,
Mike, let's go. I'm going to go through my honorable mentions that are just the lower tier honorable mentions first. So first, Cat DeLuna, Wine Up. You remember that one? That one's a good one. That's like a mid-2000s there. Afro Man, Because I Got High. Yeah. Good jam, Mike. That was, ooh. That's, I mean, I don't smoke, Mike, but I got to be honest. It's just fun. You're like, yeah. Like, you can sort of substitute anything in there for I Got High. Basically, it's, because I don't. That could be the name of the song. Like, and it's just like, yeah. Who cares?
That's funny.
I don't want to do anything. Daniel Powder, Bad Day. You had a bad day. And do. That one I don't really like, but it was just such a big song,
Yeah, it was. It was a big song.
It was all over the place. Mims, This Is Why I'm Hot. That was a good jam. Good rap song right there. This one got close to being in the second tier, Mike, and maybe it should have been. Fountains of Wayne, Stacy's Mom. I love that jam. Stacy's Mom, she's got it going on. It's good stuff. Good stuff. Yes! This one, too, fairly close to the second tier. James Blunt, You're Beautiful. That's a jam. It was everywhere. That song was all over the place. Hurricane Chris, Hey Baby. Good jam. Plain White Tees, Hey There Delilah. That one I could not stand when it came out.
Really?
I couldn't stand it because it was everywhere. It was one of those that I was just like, please, for the love of God, don't make me hear that song again. Like, especially at the place that I worked, Mike, at that gym, it was like every 30 minutes they played that song. And I was just like, oh, my God, I get it.
Well, that stinks.
Yeah.
They ruined the song.
Yeah. Jaquan, Tipsy.
How in a gym, though, was that song?
Yeah, no. That was the weird thing about that gym, Mike. It was all sad alternative songs, like all the time. And we were just like, why? Why are you playing
even
this?
Laffy Taffy is a weird one.
No, that was in a different gym. No, that was in Miami at that gym. And we had control of that radio. And so that was us playing Sirius XM. I forget which channel that is. I can't remember, but whichever the one that the new hip hop station was, that was the one we always played. And yeah, they played the crap out of Laffy Taffy. Woo! Jaquan, Tipsy. Everybody getting tipsy. Getting sort of remade by Shabuzi in the new version of it. Lumity, Never Leave You. That's a good jam. Kevin Little, Turn Me On. Jam.
So true.
Vanessa Carlton. Now this one, Mike, she had another song that reached the top 40, but I feel like only people know Vanessa Carlton, 1,000 Miles.
For sure.
That's, such a jam. Such a jam. Oh, man. 9 Days, Absolutely. Also known as Story of a Girl. That's a jam.
Yes, that was in my second tier.
Nice. Huey, Pop, Lock, and Drop It. That's a jam. Wheatus, Dirtbag, Teenage Dirtbag.
And I had that on the previous because I thought it was a 99 song, but it was a 2000 song. Apologies.
That's another one. It's sort of like How Famous Is a Song. I always go by the actual release date. That's what I go by, as a release date. Some of these, because I saw on 2000's list, they would have Butterfly by Crazy Town, and I was like, no. It was released in 99. Yes, it got popular and was still popular in 2000s, but I was like, came out in 99.
Fair enough.
Hinder, Lips of an Angel. That one, not a huge fan of, but it was super, super popular. Andrew WK, Party Hard. Yeah. The Calling, Wherever You Will Go. And this one, like we talked about, not too huge of a fan, but man, you couldn't escape it. Baha Men, Who Let the Dogs Out. Just everywhere. Okay, Mike, these are my next tier. These were the ones that were close to the top 3. First on the list, The Vines, Get Free. That was a jam. That's a hard rock jam right there, man. But it actually didn't reach the top 40, but it's a jam. And that was basically the only jam they had. Drowning Pool, Bodies. That's a hard rock jam. That used to be on back when I listened to hardcore songs while I was lifting, Mike. That was almost always on there. Got to get amped with some Drowning Pool. The Darkness, I Believe in a Thing Called Love. I remember that jam when it came out. So good, Mike. Rich Boy, Throw Some D's on It. Such a jam. Shop Boys, Party Like a Rock Star. Alien Ant Farm, Smooth Criminal.
Oh, yeah.
Hit 'em Up Style, Blue Cantrell. And lastly, Trap, Headstrong. There you go, Mike. There's all of my honorable mentions. You got any that you want to throw out there?
Yeah, for sure. Well, this one was about to be number 1, but I realized it's definitely not a one-hit wonder because this band had a lot of other good songs. Filter, Take a Picture.
Oh, yeah. Filter has probably 4 other songs, I'm guessing, something like that.
This would have been number 4 if I had to. I was thinking about it being number 3, but I kind of didn't want the audience thinking that I have something wrong with me. But I think Franz Ferdinand, Take Me Out was a good 3. So number 4 would have been Better Off Alone by Alice DJ. Do you think you're bad? Okay.
Mike, real quick, let me interject. Yeah. The Filter, you could put it on there, actually. I'm looking at their billboards. I thought their other songs were higher than they were. Take a Picture reached number 12, but it was released in the 90s. So. Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, never mind then. Yeah.
But, I mean, as far as one-hit wonder, it could fit that category. Because, that was their only song that got past a top 40.
Okay. Big Timers, Still Fly.
Love that jam. That was literally one of my go-to songs for my system in my car. Anytime I wanted to show off how good my stereo sounded, that was the go-to.
How did that not make your list, Doc G? Come on. What's going on over here?
I guess I didn't count it just because Manny Fresh and Birdman have so many, even though I did that with Gnarls Barkley. I don't know. I just saw it as, those
Big
two.
Timers. I mean, Big Timers, that was the only song that I saw that was a hit. Okay, then 9 Days, absolutely. This is a story of a girl. Okay, and then
that was that. I know.
Did you say that one?
Yeah.
Oh, my bad. I think this was why the product GMB Maria, because I think you probably didn't count that one because Santana was on it. Carlos Santana.
Yeah, no.
This one's kind of a cheesy one. Dream, He Loves You Not. I got down with the pop. Evan and Jaron, Crazy for This Girl.
Yeah. I thought I was thinking about putting that one on the old on the honorable mentions.
2 more. Corrine Bailey Ray, Put Your Records On.
Yeah.
Hey, whatever. I don't care. I love it. And then lastly, and then I know this is kind of a cover song of Don Henley, but The Boys of Summer by the Ataris.
I like the Ataris version too. Now don't get me wrong, I like the original better. I love the Don Henley version. You get the fast pace, you get the punk version. All pop punk covers are usually fun. And it's definitely a good one. Yeah. In retrospect, Mike, I feel like I just completely forgot about Big Timers, and I feel a little upset about that. I mean, that definitely could. That definitely.
You should, Doc G.
That definitely could. That could definitely. And like I said, it was literally that was my go-to when I wanted to show off a stereo. And Mike, I had a very good stereo. I had 2 12s in the back of that Jeep, and those 12s bumped. And then I had replacement speakers in all the doors. I had 2 massive Fosgate amplifiers. If I went up as high as it could, it would kill the battery instantly. That's why I had a capacitor on the battery so that it wouldn't kill it instantly. And I just love that breakdown in the song. Then you hear a boom from the amplifiers, and you just hear that drop of bass in the middle of the song. Oh, so good, Mike. So good. I agree with that one wholeheartedly, and I should have had it on there. Like I said, I think I just put too much on Manny and Birdman because they have so many other songs on their own. But just like Gnarls Barkley, that was their one song. So, yes,
It's a good song,
I missed
man.
it. I missed it. All right, Mike, we're at our last decade that we're gonna do 2010s
Yeah, let's do
next
it.
week.
Cool.
2010s. I feel like, though, this is so close, we almost can't say they're one-hit wonders, because they could come back, some of them. You never know. But, I mean, we're still going to do it, but I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Like, they have time. Like, me and my brother brought it up again. We've talked about it on the show. But, like, for instance, Billy Ray Cyrus. Takes him 30 years to get another hit. Goes from 92 all the way until 2016. And he's like, I'm back. And you're like, holy shit, that was a long time. Anyways, Mike, well, listeners, make sure you write it down. 2010s. Get your votes in there now. And we all know Foster the People is going to be on there. Come on, it's got to be on there. Pumped Up Kicks, it's a jam. Mike, 2 birthday suits. Who you want to hear? Musical artist or basketball player?
Basketball player.
Oh, you got this one. This is easy. Born on February 19th, 1995, Serbian basketball player that's won 3 MVPs, 7 All-Stars, 6 All-NBA player, and an NBA championship for the Denver Nuggets.
Nikola Jokic.
Nikola Jokic is correct. Yes. Nice. Yes, Mike. Loved basketball growing up and harness racing on the old horses there. Big harness racing fan. He signed a professional contract at 17. 2014 draft, he was selected. Do you remember what he was selected, Mike?
No.
Pretty low. 41st overall.
Ugh.
41st. Just imagine all the crap picks before him. Honestly, like there is no one anywhere close to what he has brought to that franchise in front of him in the 2014 draft. That shows you there can always be that diamond in the rough, man. There can always be. He played since being selected by the Denver Nuggets. He's been a 6-time All-Star, a 6-time All-NBA player, 7-time All-Star, 3-time MVP, and an NBA champion. Many folks consider him the best player currently in the NBA. Nikola Jokic. Yes. That's one of those too, Mike. You hear it sort of both ways. You hear some people say Nikola, and then you hear some people say Nikola. I do not know enough about the Serbian language to say which is correct in their dialect. I don't know.
Me neither.
I don't know. Regardless, happy birthday to Nikola, turning 30, Mike. 30! The big Trente. Oh, my goodness. That is exciting. Okay, Mike, you ready for the next one? Here we go. Our birthday Suitwearer was born on February 19, 1963, and is known for his smash hit, Kiss from a Rose, in 1995.
Seal.
There it is. Yes. I was going to add in, he was also married to Heidi Klum for 9 years. That was my other thing for him. But definitely, Seal had a couple of low-key hits, Mike. For a second there, I was like, is he a one-hit wonder I missed? And then I was like, no, he had like 3-4 other songs, and he did. He definitely had like a couple other songs that got up there. But in the UK, he had a bunch of hits because he had Killer in 1991, which reached #1 in the UK. And then he released the single Crazy, which became an international hit. It reached #7 here in America. And then his second album was released in 94. The third single didn't do too well when they first released it, which was Kiss from a Rose. But then they remixed it for the Batman Forever soundtrack, and it went to number 1. And it won a Grammy for Record of the Year and Song of the Year. And I can definitely say, from memory, in 1995, that song was everywhere. You could not get away from Kiss from a Rose, that's for sure.
Great video, too. I mean, I think it was just like a montage of Batman scenes, I think.
And then every now and then cutting to him with his, like, shirt flying open and him doing some open arm moves, you know? Yes, he had 8 more albums after that, but obviously none of them really reached the success of that massive album. 2004, he started dating Heidi Klum. Then he married her in 2005, and then they got divorced in 2014. And he seems like he's doing pretty awesome, Mike. So happy birthday to Seal.
Yeah. Favorite Seal song? I know it's a cover. Fly Like an Eagle, Space Jam. That was just a good little Michael Jordan montage of him getting warmed back up, and I was pumped.
That was
Seal.
That was another top 10 for him, Mike. That was a big song.
Good song.
Yeah. He he's got, I mean, Seal has a crazy good voice.
Yeah, he does.
It's a really good voice. By the way, I don't know if you knew this. His scars from a unique form of lupus, the disease lupus. That's where he got them.
Yeah.
Wild. Anyways, happy birthday to Seal. Happy birthday to Nikola Jokic, and happy birthday to Chapel Rowan. Mike, we got to wrap it up for this week, but we have some fantastic shows in the works, my goodness. But until then, I've been your host, Doc G. With me, as always, the one, the only, Mikey Maximus, the Fernicus Charette.
Always a pleasure, Doc G. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. And until next week, zip it up and zip it out.
Zippity-doo-dah.
Thank you.